Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. There's a lot happening amongst India's neighbouring countries. Enough for us here on Firstpost to give you our perspective. Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, all three in some amount of turmoil. There is a lot of confusion and turbulence brewing in these countries. In one, a cricket captain has decided to contest elections next month. In the other, the president has sacked the sports minister. And in the third, the country is getting further alienated when it comes to hosting international tournaments. We'll get you a look at some of these concerns and where it's all headed. If there is unpredictability in the sporting cultures of certain countries, there seems to be more predictability on the racetracks. We also get you the talking points from a steamy Formula One season. All that and more on the show, but first, time for Sports 360. Starting with football, Saudi club Al Nassr drew 0-0 with Iranian club Persepolis last night. The game could have tipped in Al Nassr's favour when striker Cristiano Ronaldo was awarded a penalty. However, Ronaldo went up to the referee and convinced him that there was no penalty. Ronaldo's honest and fair play gesture has gone viral on the internet. Sri Lanka's sports minister Roshan Ranasinghe was sacked yesterday. This was after Ranasinghe accused Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe of trying to assassinate him. The sports minister said, and I quote, "If I am assassinated on road, the president will be responsible." Sri Lanka's president has not responded to the allegations after firing the sports minister. On to some racket sport now. Indian shuttlers HS Pranoy and Lakshya Sen have pulled out of the Syed Modi International Tournament. Both players say they've had a hectic schedule and want to take some rest before the start of the next season. Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will also skip this tournament as she recovers from an injury. In tennis, world number 2 Aryna Sabalenka will compete in the Brisbane International Tournament. Sabalenka says she wants to prepare for the Australian Open, which begins in January next year. The Belarusian is looking to defend her Australian Open title. Brisbane International begins from the 31st of December. And MotoGP legend Valentino Rossi will be back on the racetracks. Rossi plans on doing a full season with BMW at the FIA World Endurance Championship. He will also be taking part in the Le Mans race next June. Now, what is the latest in the list of setbacks that Pakistan cricket is facing? The dust around Pakistan's cricket board never seems to settle. Fresh off the heels of the recent unrest after the World Cup, it finds itself trapped in another mess. Pakistan Cricket Board, or the PCB, may lose its bid to host the ICC Champions Trophy in 2025. The tournament holds immense prestige and is the second biggest one-day multilateral tournament after the ICC ODI World Cup, of course. Pakistan was supposed to host the 2025 edition. Reports say the matches could now take place in UAE or in some other country, or as a hybrid model. The International Cricket Council, or the ICC, is yet to sign the agreement with Pakistan. ICC's hesitation to give PCB the hosting rights has a lot of weight attached to it. I'll tell you why. This will be the second time Pakistan will lose hosting rights and such an opportunity. It's only because India refuses to step onto Pakistani soil. BCCI has been firm on its stance due to disturbed relations between the two countries. Even matches between the two countries are played in neutral venues. To make it clear, a neutral venue in sports means a ground which doesn't belong to either of the teams involved in the contest. This happens due to a variety of reasons, including the political history. A similar scenario occurred during the 2023 Asia Cup tournament just some months back. India chose not to go to Pakistan, who were the hosts initially. Following the refusal, all of India's matches, as well as the knockout matches, were shifted to Sri Lanka. India's refusal to travel for the Asia Cup in September, and now amid reports of them potentially doing the same for the Champions Trophy, tells us how India's decisions impact the dynamics of cricket globally. Hosting the Champions Trophy could have given Pakistan a much-needed breather. It would have been the perfect respite from all the chaos. PCB was in crisis mode after back-to-back losses during the ODI World Cup, And there was immediate reaction right after the World Cup and even during the tournament. A new captain, a new chief of selector, a new director of cricket, a cleanup. But all of it seems to be now in vain. They are left scratching their heads once again. Pakistan hosted the Cricket World Cups back in 1987 and 1996, co-hosted them in fact. Things took a dramatic turn for the worse when Sri Lanka toured Pakistan in 2009. The Lankan team was attacked. At least 6 Sri Lankan players were injured in those attacks. Horrific pictures came out from that day, and cricket in Pakistan pretty much came to a standstill. Since then, international cricket has been microscopic or close to non-existent in the country. The security concerns are the primary reason why major cricket squads refused to tour Pakistan post that incident. The ICC even barred them from hosting the 2011 World Cup along with India and Sri Lanka. Even the PSL, or the Pakistan Super League, that made its debut in 2016 was first played in UAE due to these very concerns. It was only after the 2017 PSL final, which was held in Lahore, that more international players started travelling to Pakistan. But with this turn of events, it would seem that the country and the cricket board haven't succeeded in reinforcing the faith and confidence of hosting international cricket. Despite trying to make significant efforts in reviving cricket in the country, the question of when will full-fledged international cricket return remains a question. If I come back to the situation at hand right now, India is an important stakeholder in the Champions Trophy. Their participation in any event, in fact, brings in massive engagement, record viewership, crowds and fans. We all saw that during the ODI World Cup. The cricket community closely watches any and every decision BCCI, or the Board for Control for Cricket in India, makes, because it has a ripple effect worldwide. Given the repute India has built over the years, their priorities and decisions matter to the ICC. Recent reports say PCB chief Zaka Ashraf and the COO Salman Nasir met ICC's executive board in Ahmedabad during the World Cup. And it seems like Pakistan is aware of where all of this delays in signing the deal to host Champions Trophy could be headed. Media reports say that PCB officials suggested ICC must not take unilateral decisions, suggesting the ICC not to take any stance that favours India alone. PCB reportedly even gave a stern message to the ICC saying if India refused to travel to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy, the ICC should compensate them. On a more lighter note, all this talk about the Champions Trophy possibly being shifted out of Pakistan has promoted a very unlikely host to throw its hat in the ring. Iceland Cricket Board has expressed its bid to host the event, resulting in a lot of humour across social media.
We are hearing that a hybrid model will be preferred for the tournament. We are interpreting it as a clarion call for a land of fire and ice make a bid to host the tournament. Although weather conditions are suboptimal in Iceland during the months of February and March, we also have abundant supply of fuel and electric panel heaters to always keep the players warm.
Not to rub salt on anyone's wounds, but this surely got some laughs. The story, though, will develop in the days and weeks to come. Here on Firstpost, we keep bringing you stories from around the sporting world. Stories of players who are giving it their all in their respective disciplines, striving for excellence and leaving no stone unturned to etch their name in history books. But this story is a little different. We would like to take you beyond the sporting world, to the world of politics. Both have quite a few things in common. We look at what those are and why this trend of cricketers entering politics is gaining popularity, especially in South Asia. But let's take this one by one. So who's the latest entrant in the political arena? It is former Bangladesh cricket captain Shakib Al Hasan. That's right, the all-rounder has thrown his hat in the ring for the upcoming parliamentary elections in the country. The polls are scheduled to be held next month in January. And Shakib will contest as a candidate for the Awami League, that's the ruling party in Bangladesh. And he'll be doing so from his home district, which is roughly 175 kilometers away from the capital, Dhaka. That would be quite a home match for him. Although on a different pitch, what's interesting about this is to do with a bit of deep dive into Shakib, the persona. We've seen him evolve over the years. He has emerged as one of the tallest profiles to play for Bangladesh, an icon for many in the country. Yes, he hasn't made headlines for the right reasons more often than not, and that's what makes him to be a curious case. Often we've seen and read about Shakib's temper, how his behavior on the field has been problematic. And in some cases, it's just been, well, let's just say controversial. Like the timed out dismissal of Angelo Matthews in the recently concluded Cricket World Cup, where Shakib's appeal attracted a lot of attention. Or the time when he was so furious with the umpire's decisions that he went ahead and broke the stumps. Or how about his history, a past that's quite colourful, when he got banned from playing cricket for 2 years for not disclosing that he was approached to engage in corrupt conduct. The best part about this is that often politicians' not so clean past come stumbling out of the closets, compromising his or her position in the party and the country. But with Shakib, you know it all. You pretty much know all the wrongdoings or the misdemeanors that he has engaged in. So there are no surprises there. Sounds like an interesting candidate to me, but that is Shakib for you. He has his flaws, but he plays the game hard, much like what many in his new team will be hoping from him. No one can deny that the all-rounder has been an impactful and a very popular player, not just for Bangladesh, but even for the franchises that he has played for globally. And many are hoping that this popularity of his would help in the political landscape of Bangladesh.
He is a celebrity and has great popularity among the country's youth.
Now, of course, Shakib isn't the first player to enter politics. Take his teammate Mashrafe Mortaza, for instance, who entered politics in 2018 before retiring from the game to focus on his political career fully. Or here in India, starting from the likes of the great Mansoor Ali Khan Patodi to Gautam Gambhir, Mohammad Azharuddin, Navjot Singh Sidhu, or in Sri Lanka, you've Sanat Jayasuriya, to name some. These cricketers have either contested elections unsuccessfully or went to become lawmakers, and in some cases even led their respective countries. But here's what sets Shakib apart from the rest. All the players we told you about earlier took to politics full time, that is after they retired from the sport. And here's a commonality between politics and sport. You can't really pursue either as part-time hobbies if you want to make it big. Both are full-time careers. Each requires the individual to be completely devoted, put in the long hours and the effort. That makes sense in the case of retired cricketers who have a lot of time on their hands and age by their side. Shakib, at 37 years, perhaps wants to challenge that notion. Mind you, he's still an active player for Bangladesh. He hasn't called it quits just yet. Yes, an injury in the World Cup has kept him out of action, and it's in the middle of all this that he has decided to stand for elections. Once this news was out, the internet, of course, was flooded with responses. Some even called him out for a decade-old post where Shakib had categorically ruled out joining politics.
Let me be clear. I am not joining politics and I don't have any intention to join politics in my life. I was requested by the board president to join the program on behalf of the cricket team, and I haven't said a single word about politics. So I would request you guys, please do not trust our media. I hope I made myself clear.
Trust Shakib to have said something like this and then do exactly the opposite. So the question is, why do cricketers want to enter politics after sport? Why are political parties keen on fielding former cricketers as candidates? And more importantly, how do the people in the respective countries respond to this trend? What I mean is, does the popularity of a cricketer translate into votes in the ballot boxes? Well, not necessarily. Let's see it from the cricketer's perspective first. You see, an average cricketer's shelf life is around 12 to 15 years, give or take some depending on various factors. Depending on how successful he or she is, the public always remembers them. During their careers, they are public figures. By the time he or she hangs up their boots, they're still in their 30s or possibly early 40s. Politics is one way that helps them elongate their career in the public eye, stay in touch with the masses and sort of leverage the identity and fame that they have earned as cricketers for the political party. The equation is very simple: banking on the identity of the player regardless of the ideology. Parties think the popularity may help them come to power, and they're right in most cases, but it's the public perception that matters the most. After all, a political career has challenges of its own. Not the most smoothest rides one can ask for. Do they want to see their cricketing idols go through that churn? Enter Imran Khan, the World Cup winning captain from Pakistan, possibly among the few who tasted a lot of success in both politics and cricket. Imran Khan took the political plunge, floated his political party, which is the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Imran Khan got popular support, went on to become the Prime Minister of Pakistan in 2018 and is now languishing in jail following a bitter political spat. And that's really the crux of it. A career in politics is not that different from sport. You have to be ready for the praises as well as the brickbats, the purple patches as well as the speed breakers. The only difference though is that in sport you can pass it all off by saying win or lose, it's all part of a game. In politics though, it's a little more than just that. It all depends on which pitch the player wants to bat or bowl on. Now we will start with a little flashback. Let's turn back the clock a little to 2021. The Formula One season is gearing up for its last race, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It was a dramatic climax to a title showdown. With 6 laps to go, Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton was leading the race. He was on course to win his 8th championship. And then everything changed. A late safety car enters the race, Verstappen pits for fresh tyres, and the rest, as they say, is history. Max Verstappen won his first World Championship title amid much controversy. And frankly, he and Red Bull haven't looked back since then. But if you compare the 2021 and the 2023 Grand Prix, they have very little in common except the result. Max Verstappen won the 2023 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix as well, but it wasn't some championship winning showdown. In fact, Verstappen had already sealed the championship in Qatar almost 2 months back. So this was just for any other race, according to him, a mere formality.
The target today was to win, and then probably the second target was to try and get 1,000 laps in. So I think we did well. The whole season, of course, has been unbelievable, incredible. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. It's just been a lot of fun as well.
Another race to shatter some records this season, and he has had plenty of them in 2023. Just look at the numbers. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix was Verstappen's 19th victory this season. 19 wins in 22 races. That is a landmark statistic. But the Red Bull driver made it look like a breeze. And it's not the only record he broke. There were many more like this. Most points in a season, 575. Most consecutive wins, 10. Most podiums in a season, 21. Most hat-tricks in a season, 6 on the trot. Largest margin of championship victory, 290. The one stat that is truly mind-blowing is the number of laps Max has led this season. It's a staggering number, 1,003 out of 1,325. That is 75.7% of the entire year. The list is truly never-ending, and that's how the new era of Formula One looks like. A dominant Red Bull followed by others trying to play catch-up.
It was a bit emotional on the end lap. It was the last time I was sitting in the car, which has of course given me a lot. So of course, very proud to win also here in the last race. But I have to say a big thank you to everyone at Red Bull. It's been an incredible year. It will be hard to do something similar again, but we definitely enjoyed this year.
Yes, what a year it's been. The once exhilarating world of Formula One, though, has become a predictable script. Red Bull is playing the lead role and the others are struggling to keep pace with the raging bull. Gone are the days of fierce battles, the nail-biting overtakes and the unpredictable outcomes that kept everyone on the edge of the seats. Now it's more like a Red Bull parade. It's no longer about slight pace deficit. Now it is, no matter who takes the pole on Saturday, the Dutch anthem will play on the podium on Sunday. But this sort of domination is not new. Many teams have had their purple patch across multiple Formula One seasons. Take 1984 to 1998. McLaren and Williams were winning all races. They each won 7 championships. Then there was Ferrari. The prancing horse dominated from 1999 to 2008. Red Bull had a dream run from 2010 and between 2010 and 2013. And then there were the Silver Arrows. Mercedes took Formula One by storm, dominating from 2014 right up to 2021. So Red Bull doing it now isn't strange. The excitement of unpredictability, though, has been replaced by the fear of certainty. Will Red Bull win the next race? Spoiler alert, they most probably will. But has it taken away the thrill of Formula One? Is Formula One, dare I say, boring? A lot of that had to do with the regulations changing in 2022. It was to close up the field, to encourage wheel-to-wheel racing. But what it did, in fact, is usher in a new era of dominance, the era of Red Bull and Max Verstappen in the driver's seat. It is not even a surprise anymore that they are miles ahead of others. And every other team knows that. Red Bull knew how to get the best out of the 2022 regulations, and it seems like no other team on the grid has nailed that just yet. including Mercedes. Let's look at them for just a bit. They may have won second place in the Constructors' Championship, but this season is likely to be a lot of soul-searching for them, especially for the lead driver Lewis Hamilton. In 2021, he was 6 laps away from winning the Grand Prix, 6 laps away from the elusive 8th World Championship title. But in 2023, he is finishing in the 9th position, fighting his own battles, as Mercedes calls it, with reports of Hamilton unhappy with the model and a few tiffs within the team making more of the headlines. Then there's Ferrari. They put everything into the races, but what was missing was strategy, a better car, and frankly, luck, because Charles Leclerc may have made it to the pole multiple times, but at the end of the day, it was Max Verstappen on the podium. So will this dream run continue in 2024? Well, it's likely to. We could be up for another season of Red Bull charge, unless some other team cracks the code to get a better car, the code to get some excitement back into Formula One. Until then, the only plot twist we can hope for is the lack of wings at the Red Bull factory. Well, that's all the time we have at Firstpost today. But before we leave, here's our parting shot, as we call it, the last serve. The Freestyle Football World Championship final took place in Kenya. 32 freestylers went head-on against each other. Their tricks and acrobatic skills will make you watch this one on loop. Well, that wraps it up here on Firstpost. We hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, of course, bye-bye from all of us. Take care. Good night.